Hello, my name is Denise Mikami, and I'm here because, like you, I'm concerned about the lack of equity and inclusivity within elementary public education. Unfortunately, despite the national efforts towards reform, our classrooms remain deeply unequitable across the United States. Research shows that students from racially, linguistically, and economically marginalized backgrounds consistently experience lower academic achievement, reduced access to quality instruction, and increased disciplinary actions. The current equity gaps are not just from policy failures. They are classroom-level challenges that demand a new way of thinking about how our students can learn. In elementary public schools, where children's foundational knowledge and identity are formed, exclusionary practices can have lifelong consequences for each child. This is why the big problem I would like to address is creating inclusive and equitable classrooms within elementary public education in the United States. To be able to address this problem, I'm going to use constructivism as my guiding learning theory. Constructivism posits that learning is an active, contextualized process where individuals construct knowledge through experience and social interaction. Looking through the lens of this model, it depicts how children are not passive recipients of information. Rather, they are the co-creators of their own knowledge who bring cultural, social, and cognitive assets into their learning environment. The key to constructivism is that the idea that learners build upon what they already know, and that the instructional design is meaningful, student-centered, and culturally responsive. Only then can an educator act as a facilitator who scaffolds learning and creates opportunities for collaboration, exploration, and self-reflection. When constructivist theory is applied to inclusive classrooms, it shifts the focus from a one-size-fits-all approach to one that promotes diversity, engagement, and builds agency in learners who are often marginalized. If given the opportunity and resources, I would want to create an initiative called Equity Labs, Community-Rooted Classrooms. This initiative would incorporate collaborative, culturally responsive project-based learning into our elementary schools within public education. We would be able to pair teachers with community mentors, families, and students in redesigning the curriculum and learning opportunities that reflect our students' cultural and lived experiences. We would implement scaffolding techniques that would occur while educators guide students through complex and real-world problems. The social interactions would be central through group collaboration as well as community engagement. The learner agency would help to promote students being able to shape their own direction of inquiry-based projects that are grounded within their own experiences. This initiative would not only pave the way for more inclusive learning practices, but would also create more meaningful engagement from our students. Our students would be more engaged, feel stronger connection of belonging, and we would also see a decrease within the achievement gap. Research confirms that culturally responsive, constructivist classrooms improve student outcomes and engagement. To be able to implement equity labs, we would need funding to train our teachers in professional development through the lens of constructivist and culturally responsive pedagogy. We would need to build partnerships with local community organizations that would participate in equity labs. We would also need to have access to digital tools for any collaborative projects that are created within the program. More importantly, we need human capital, which includes mentors, instructional coaches, and even translators to be able to support multilingual families. If we are able to receive funding and support for these resources, this initiative can be implemented across school districts in the United States to be able to create positive, long-lasting cultural and academic change. This is why I am seeking your support in creating equity labs, whether it is through providing funding, partnerships, or even community engagement. If you decide to invest in the startup of this program, we can begin to transform classrooms where every student feels seen, heard, and empowered. Thank you for your consideration and belief in the power of education to be able to shape a more equitable and inclusive future for our children.